Hello, fellow COMS 622 students. My name is Joe Ward. I'm going to be covering Chapter 10 of the textbook for the course. The title of the chapter is Using Teams in Organizations. I have about 7 slides that I'm going to be using for this brief presentation. We're going to cover topics dealing with the difference between teams and groups, benefits and costs of teams, the different types of teams, and also how those different types fit within organizations and are utilized to achieve maximum effectiveness. Then we're going to move into the last portion, which deals with essential team issues, and we'll wrap up with a couple questions for you guys to respond to. The first topic that we're going to discuss from the chapter deals with the definition and difference between teams and groups. The authors do a great job, I feel, making the distinction between those two terms a priority. And I would agree with that as I've gone through the chapter. I think it's very important for us as current and future leaders and managers and organizers of various activities that we know and distinguish the difference between a group and a team. And knowing that information, I believe, can make us more effective. As you see there in front of you on the second slide, I've broken the two terms up and have listed a few things below each that distinguish the two from each other. Groups, there you can see the first point, obviously to a certain extent, implies a plural or multiple people. That would be 2 or more individuals. A group has influence with the other members in the group, and through interaction oftentimes also have common interests among each other within the group. I think of maybe an adult Sunday school class from a church going out for ice cream, for example, on a Sunday evening as a group that go out. They have similar interests, influence each other throughout the week and during their group meetings, but really lack a common goal per se in their traveling to Cold Stone for the evening to grab some ice cream with each other. They lack a unified purpose in their interaction with each other. A team, on the other hand, incorporates the basic building blocks or concepts of a group, but builds on that by incorporating the common goal, focus, and purpose that really spurs action and direction for a team. Growing up, I played sports in high school and college, and I think most of us can identify with the concept of a sports team all working together, not for individual gain or for general interest in the sport, but for a common goal to win. So those two things really distinguish a team versus a group in that they have a common goal with the team and a group does not. As we move to the third slide in the presentation, we also identify the benefits and costs associated with establishing teams within organizations. As you can see on the slide there, I've identified a few benefits that relate to establishing teams within organizations. They involve enhanced performance, employee benefits, reduced costs overall for the organization, and enhancements really across the board. Ironically, all of these things, though they're separate benefits, kind of have a commonality amongst them, and that things like increased productivity, a sense of common identity for the individuals within the teams, and accountability to other team members really have a lot of blended benefits across the board, switching to a team-based culture within an organization. Some of the costs associated with establishing teams within organizations really comes alongside of the change that is presented when organizations switch to a team-based culture. Oftentimes, individuals that have little or no experience within that culture can easily feel left out and produce a sense of fear and insecurity about their jobs. And as leaders and managers, we have to be in the future and currently sensitive to those kinds of individuals We just recently discussed the importance of individuals in our last video section within organizations, and those concepts that we learned from the past organization certainly need to be carried over into the team-based culture in organizations. Even though it is very effective, we have to be sensitive to those things. As we move to slide 4, we'll be discussing the different types of teams utilized within organizations. For the sake of time, I'm going to highlight 2 in particular that I've had the most experience with and have found to be extremely common in today's workforce, and also very, very effective. The first is problem-solving teams. The main characteristic associated with these types of teams is that they are temporary and not permanent in nature. Management or supervisors may find it beneficial to establish a team of subject matter experts on a given situation that they're having problems with, and establish a task force, if you will, to solve the problem as quickly as possible. And after resolution is met, then that team would be disbanded. Another one that I've had a lot of experience with, I teach at West Virginia University for the ROTC department, and West Virginia University has the largest ROTC program in the state. And virtual teams, the next block that I have bolded on the screen, is something I'm extremely familiar with when we plan statewide operations for our cadets and the students that I have in my class. Oftentimes I'm planning with other major universities across the state, be it Marshall or West Virginia State University in the southern portions, very far away from where I'm located here in Morgantown at West Virginia University. And so we operate primarily by teleconference, internet, email, but nonetheless we are a team many times associated towards a common goal, but never meet face to face. And that's a very common thing that many organizations are utilizing today. As we move into slides 5 and 6 of the presentation, we encounter really the most difficult portion of the chapter, both in theory and in practice, in my opinion, and that is the implementation of a team-based culture or a team-based structure within an organization. On slides 5 and 6, I have kind of laid out a brief list of transformation phases and processes that take place both prior to implementation, and then on slide 6 what the process looks like after implementation. On slides 5, I've highlighted that there's 3 really important process steps that have to take place before a final decision can be made to even move forward with implementation of a team-based structure and organization. Those are establishing leadership for the transformation, establishing a steering committee to guide the process, and conducting a thorough feasibility study to determine whether or not the timing is right, the resources are available, and whether or not the general culture and tone of the organization from an individual standpoint is ready for such a significant change. On slide 6, I highlight the 5 phases, commencing in the startup phase of implementation, and progressing through those months of growing pains where reality and unrest set in, and ultimately culminate in self-managed teams capable of themselves. And this is really the end state of the implementation, is professional self-managed teams capable of conducting work on their own in an effective way. As we move to slide 7, we will wrap up the discussion on teams in organizations with a couple essential team issues that the authors of the text identify, those being team performance and the second, responsibility of management. A major pitfall can occur within organizations, especially among management, when they make the switch to a team-based structure within their organization, and that major pitfall would be expectation management of that team that has been recently established. And really, what tends to happen is that they expect too much from the team too quickly. And really, all of life and relationships hinge on communication on the one hand and expectations on the other. And the relationship between management and supervisors and recently established teams is no different. And a pitfall that really needs to be addressed and avoided is expectation management, and allowing, as you can see the graph that I've put into the slide on the right, allow that those phases to take place, and culminating in phase 5, where the teams are capable to operate successfully on their own. And during the entire process, really, management has those 3 responsibilities that I've listed there: to make the final decision on implementation, communicate effectively why the changes are being made, and then support that decision to the best of their ability through the entire implementation process.